presidential elections are happening today. Okay.
So, like, what I'm wondering is how this election will affect the stock market off of
That's,
these recent all-time highs. What do you like? Where can the stock market go from here?
welcome back to another episode of Investors Playbook. As always, you have your co-hosts Deshaun and Cornell. Cornell, we got a special episode today, man. We we got a special episode today. We definitely have to drop it because, as you all know, presidential elections are happening today. All right, the presidential elections are happening for the United States of America are happening today. We hope that everyone had a chance to go vote. Make sure that you exercise your voice. If you have not had a chance to, we're going to drop this in the morning, so make sure that if you haven't had a chance to exercise your voice, it's important that we get out there and vote, folks. But yes, today is the day of the presidential election. And with that, um, we got to talk about how we think the presidential election is going to affect the stock market. But before we dive into all the juiciness of this episode, Cornell, how you feeling, bro? Got to see how you feeling, man.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Same old stuff in the gym, working, in
Mm-hmm.
school,
Mm-hmm.
progressing, man. I nothing but love out here, man. How about yourself?
Same, man. Same. Gym has been going very well. Staying on my P's and Q's when it comes to that. I got to get right because you know, I gotta present in a couple months. You feel me? I got a wedding coming up, so I can't be out there half stepping. You know what I mean? So
For sure.
uh, I've definitely been moving in the right direction. I got goals, right?
Okay.
There's a certain amount of lbs that I want to lose before that special day. So um, yeah, man, making sure that that is happening, and then of course work is going very well. Everything is going smooth, no complaints whatsoever. You know. Yeah, things are moving good. We got the holiday season coming up, so it's gonna be a lot of time spent with family. You know what I mean? Um, but nah, everything has been great. No complaints at all. Everything's been smooth. But yeah, I'm glad to hear. Glad to hear that you're doing well.
Oh yeah.
Glad to hear that I'm doing well. I
For
hope
sure.
everyone listening. I hope y'all are doing well as well.
And what
Um,
people have to remember is no matter what happens today, you choose if you do well or not.
yeah,
No one
yeah.
else can do that for you, not even the president.
No, the president will not. The president cannot shape your future. Only you can. All right, and it starts with getting off the sidelines, folks. It starts with taking action, regardless of the outcome today, regardless of what happens. Um, we have to make sure that we're taking our future in our own hands, taking accountable, making sure that we are accountable for the decisions that we make. Um, and a lot of what we are going to talk about today, of course, is going to be just diving into the different policies that each candidate has, how they might affect your finances on a personal level. Because, of course, with each individual president, you have each policy that could affect you or could not affect you. It depends on where you are in life, it depends on your situation. But like Cornell said, regardless of your situation, you want to make sure that despite whoever wins, you are prepared and you and your family are prepared financially, right? One of the best ways to do that is to make sure that you are just taking account of all of the expenses you got, the income that you have, making sure that you are aware of where your money is going, getting started with investing if you haven't. Of course, you can always holler at us at Investors Playbook if you're looking to begin your investing journey. We are tons of episodes in, and in each episode, we dive a little bit into the individual pieces of what investing actually looks like.
And
Yeah. All right. I'll go ahead.
and I feel like something that's important to do, and especially in this time, because I know I grew up in a household that only looked at one party, for sure, and I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. But it's important for people to be educated on both sides, because no matter what side wins, you have to know what policies are in place so that you can take full advantage of it. Because say the party that you didn't want to win actually wins, does that mean that your life is just over? No, you're going to have to keep moving forward, and you need to know how to best maneuver during those times, because if they're in for 4 years, most likely.
Most likely.
So, just be prepared, and we got to get out of that mindset where, hey, if this person gets in, I'm gonna leave it. You're not going anywhere. Okay, you're still gonna be here. So, just plan accordingly.
Yeah. And I'll even say this. You said that if the person who you want to win doesn't, but I'll even say if the person you want to win does win and they don't act on the policies that they said they would, to get elected, don't expect any of these politicians to just like stand. I'm not necessarily saying that they are like good or bad or whatever the case may be, but they aren't the sole contributor to any one policy, right? They have to go through a lot of checks and balances. So despite how much Kamala Harris or how much Donald Trump wants to enact something, they still have to make sure that the policy that they're enacting goes through the House of Representatives, goes through the Senate. It's not just they say it and it goes. So despite what the rallies are saying and what the people, what the candidates are saying, you got to make sure that even if they are saying that they're going to enact this, no matter what, once they get elected, always take into account the fact that the rest of the individuals that have to vote on these policies might not like it. They might create gridlock. And that's when you have a president who's a Democrat, but you have a House and a Senate that's not. It makes it a lot harder for them to execute policies when it comes to some of the things that they said that they would, that they said they would enact. So, yeah, just like we always say, just you got to be prepared, despite the outcome. Make sure that you are aware of what's happening, aware of your situation, so that you can move accordingly. But yeah, man, Cornell, let's dig into it, bro.
So for sure.
What do you think? Well, first, let's just talk about how crazy the stock market has been going the past like couple months. Like we've constantly seen new highs over and over and over again. Bitcoin hit a new high, right, this past week. Um, how do you feel about that?
I'm excited, bro. you know, I've been putting into Bitcoin when Bitcoin was down. I think it went down to like 13,000. I stayed 10 toes down, and I
Mm-hmm.
continue to put money in Bitcoin no matter what happened.
Yeah.
And I am actually extremely happy that I did that. Even when people were telling me, "Hey, it's going to continue to go lower, man. It's done. Take your money out." I'm like, "No, I'm tired of missing this train. I'm not doing it this time." So I
Yeah.
continue to put money in, and now I'm reaping the benefits for Bitcoin like I deserve. So yeah, I'm excited about it. And also, like with the stock market, well, it was just at an all-time high. So with the
Mm-hmm.
stock market being at an all-time high, of course my portfolio was at an all-time high. And man, all I can do is just look at where I've gotten myself financially, and just be happy about it. And I can only imagine where I'm going to be 10 years from now if I can continue my discipline, continue my consistency, the same discipline and consistency we teach to other for other people to have. And man, I'm excited. I'm excited about life, bro.
Same, bro. I totally can echo what you're saying. It's just fascinating how you see the growth over years. It's hard to see it when you just
Hmm.
get started because you just got started. You want to make money as fast as possible, but I mean, the proof is if you start now, right? Let the plant grow, give it time. You will reap the benefits down the line, right? Um, Fast money is fine, but when it comes to investing, things like the stock market, fast money can happen. You could get lucky, but it has been tried and true that if you invest and let it grow over time, you will see benefits like no other when it comes to the stock market investing, right? And then even just the amount of people who end up um, trying to make a quick buck off the stock market and the ratio of the people that lose, right?
Yeah.
It's almost
It,
just like,
it's over 90%.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, like, what I'm wondering is how this election will affect the stock market off of
that's,
these recent all-time highs. What do you like? Where can the stock market go from here? Those are my thoughts, and that's what kind of scares me because it's like, is it
yeah.
preparing to do something crazy?
I think a lot of times with these big elections, they already factor in they try to factor in the presidential election and who's going to win, right? Um, because it's always the buy the rumor, sell the news. So the stock market tries to move based on who they think is going to win the election. Um, but like you said, the the wrench can be if the stock market has moved in a way to where someone who they didn't expect to win the election wins the election. What happens to the different sectors? What happens to things like Bitcoin? What happens to um, not what is it called? The like the bond market, like the slow grow market. Where does that go? And a lot of it, I mean, it's up in the air, right? Because we can talk about policies and individual financial policies that the other uh, politicians have, that the other, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have, but how will that affect sentiment? A lot of times the market moves not just based on policies, but a lot of times the market moves based on emotion, you know, what people feel, how people feel the president is going to affect the market. Um, so I think that one way to to slice this up is to even just dive into the different policies that they have. I know you have a couple. What are some of the important financial policies that both candidates have that you think can affect people's finances, not just the stock market, but just in general too?
I think all right. So I'll start with Kamala. I know she's
Mm-hmm.
the newer candidate, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people don't know exactly what her stance is on a lot of things. So I just went through her page and basically jotted down everything dealing with finance. So the things that stuck out, I know she's trying to expand the child tax credit to $6,000 for newer children. It didn't really have an age range on what the $6,000 will entail. I don't think it's uh until they're 18 because it said
Yeah.
newborn children. So yeah, so that was one. And then she had to the her promise where anyone making less than $400,000 will not pay more in taxes. So a lot of people will be like, "Oh, she's trying to tax us more. She's trying to tax us more. She's taxing the rich more." How many people do you know making more than $400,000 a year?
Right.
If you
Right.
do, I promise you, it's not much. Probably 1% of the
Mm.
people you know are making, if that, are making $400,000 a
And we're
year.
not talking about you Googled and you know that someone's net worth is you and your. How many people know you that
Right.
make more than
I like how
$400,000?
you put that.
You
I like
feel
how you put that.
me?
How many people know you that are making over $400,000
Right.
a year? All
Right.
right. So then, also, this is the one where that kind of has me in confusion. She's saying that she will provide first-time home buyers with up to $25,000 for down payment assistance. Like, cause I'm not saying that it can't happen. There are a lot of people that don't have homes, right? And with this coming into policy, I'm sure this will prompt a lot of people to buy their first home.
Hmm.
How many people can you give 25,000? And I know it says up to, but right now it doesn't really have a criteria for what they're looking at in order for you to get the 25,000? Is it the
Yeah,
price of the house? Like what is it? I feel like there could have been more um
like
I feel like
transparent with
more
that.
transparency, because like what does that look like?
Yeah, I think just having been in the house hunt and looking at the different um, ways that you can get support when it comes to purchasing a home, there are going to be a lot of hoops that people have to jump through in order to obtain that down payment assistance, right? One of the biggest things is going to be a insurance that you can even pay the mortgage, right? They're going to look at your income. They're going to look at your expenses. Make sure that even if we were to give you this down payment, can you afford this mortgage? And if you can't, then we're not gonna probably not gonna give you this down payment because we don't want you to be in a situation where you're upside down. Go ahead.
But see, in that case, you can't even get a loan for something that they do that even if you get a loan.
Yes,
They
but you're
check your debt
talking
to income.
right. But a home loan is different. A loan, you don't pay any money up front. You just get money. With a home loan, you have to put a substantial amount of money down first. So if you are able to get a loan for a home, but you still have to
No,
put down $40,000, that way that means you can't necessarily go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was talking about the home loan, because
Uh,
I know you were saying that they
I,
would not give you the down payment assistance if you can't afford the home. But my
yep,
thing is, can you even get the home loan if you can't afford the home?
probably not. But that's
Yeah.
why it's if you're able to get a home loan, then we will help you with the down payment. You know what I mean? Which I don't know. I'm just speculating because there
Yeah.
was no transparency. It's just like we want to help people get into homes, so we're going to help them with down payment up to $25,000. What does that mean? We will see come Tuesday if if that does happen. I mean, it's not going to happen on Tuesday, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it's a policy
Somewhere
that we're going to have to explain on this episode in a couple months, we'll know on Tuesday. You know?
somewhere deep into the presidency, it's gonna be like, oh, you know this?
Yeah. Right.
Man, I that's hard for me to see for sure. But I did see some great things as far as like lower the price on essential drugs like insulin. I
Mm,
know capping that at $35, because I love that she brought up that point, because I don't feel like you should have to be wealthy, rich, or even financially stable to be able to get your hands on drugs that are a necessity. People need insulin to survive. They will
yeah.
die without it.
Yeah.
Their bodies are not regulating sugar the right way.
Hmm.
Their bodies are not producing insulin the way they need to. So they need to buy it. And if it's overpriced, how do you expect them to survive?
Right. And I've seen that not just with insulin. I feel like a while ago the price of like EpiPens
That's
went up
crazy.
went up some like crazy amount, and we're talking about things that can again save people's lives. People need this so that you know, they don't pass away.
Yeah.
Um, to put a price tag that is outrageous on something like that. That was at one point not outrageous, and then it's just like the flip of a switch. Now people can't afford it. Like, come on, that's kind of crazy.
Like,
Kind of crazy.
yeah, yeah. So and see, so I'm glad that this is a talking point. I don't know why this is just now a talking point, but yeah. So this is, yeah, I really love that.
Hmm.
She did have something, another thing that I'm not a fan of. I know a lot of people do need this because of their lack of planning for their retirement.
Hmm.
But she wants to protect Social Security, which I think is a scam. I think Social Security is a scam. Because if you look at the amount of money that people are putting into Social Security in a lifetime, that money would be better served invested in the stock market. But I understand that people who are not trying to plan and they just want to give the government their money and let the government give them the scraps, once they get once they get older, like I understand for the people that don't feel like thinking about it, but for the people that are actually thinking about it and actively investing, I feel like Social Security is a ripoff.
Yeah, I will even say Social Security isn't even something you can choose to put into, right? It's kind of
Uh,
something you.
Certain jobs do not put into it. My job does not put into Social Security.
Okay. I don't know if the jobs that do put into Social Security give you a choice of whether or not some of your check goes into Social Security. It's
Very,
kind
very
of
few jobs give you a choice.
yeah. It's part of it's just it's part of what um yeah, part of what you have to pay when it comes to uh your check. And I think a lot of that is just a lack of financial literacy. Um, People, well, if they had the choice, would they then say, I don't want to put into Social Security, I'm going to instead take this money and put it in the stock market? Would that be the case? We don't know. Because we do have a big financial literacy gap when it comes to people who want to even know about investing, and then the people who know the secrets of investing, right? Like there's quite a big gap there. Um, and I think, like you said, Social Security lends those people a hand who don't necessarily want to learn how to, take control of their future finances or don't really know how to. But those individuals who are aware of it, it's like, I don't want to invest in Social Security. I would rather put this money into the stock market. Um, but also, is when we're pooling money into the Social Security, we're putting it in there for everybody, right? Is that kind of how Social Security works?
Yeah, it's like
We're
a
not putting.
pension.
Oh,
But
that's okay.
But you know what I can relate that to? What my mind relates that to? You remember like back when you were in grade school and you were in a class and everybody was talking and you were not one of those kids talking. And then now the whole class is in trouble because some people don't want to shut up. So it's like just because you like the mass majority don't want to plan for their future, I have to put my money in this system that I don't like.
Yeah,
Same for TRS. With me being in education, my money is going into TRS. I don't have a choice. They
yeah,
take 6% of my check and put it into this system that I don't even think that I'm going to end up retiring from.
yeah. I don't think. I mean, the amount of money that you put towards and the amount of rate, the rate that it grows, it just doesn't. It can't really sustain any. Not how inflation moves and the price of everyday living, how fast it's increasing. No, it's not going to work. And that's why you see teachers working until they're 65, 70 years old because they can't stop working.
And
They
then
just,
and then and then check me out. And then
yeah,
with teachers, I feel like it's even worse because they work 30 years and then for 30 years they get 60% of their check for the rest of their life. Who can take a 40% pay cut?
no,
Who?
not 30 years from now. It's like it's the opposite.
Anytime. Can you take a 40% pay cut
Oh
right now?
no.
It doesn't matter when it is.
Yeah, I'm talking about how worse it will be because the prices of things now compared to how they're going to be in like 25, 30 years, everything's going to be substantially more expensive. So taking a pay cut, but you're right. Your pay cut, your income will increase
Your income will
regardless.
be different.
Regardless, 40% is just not sustainable.
It's crazy.
But that's why we want to make sure people are educated on how they can increase their income after retirement,
Right.
not just rely on the money that they're putting in their retirement account, their teacher's retirement account, their 403b, their 401k, whatever the case may be. You have to also make sure you are planning outside of those avenues because life is going to get more expensive. That's just what it's going to be. History has told us that today's price ain't yesterday's price. However you say it, yesterday's price ain't today's price. Point is, tomorrow's price ain't today's price. You get what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
It's gonna
Well,
be.
well said, Deshaun. And for the final bullet point that I have on Kamala, it of course she plans on continuing the fight on student loans that Biden has been so successful in. So, of course, that is one of the big things that I appreciated Biden for. Of course, my student loans have not been cleared, but um, a lot of the people that I work with me being in a public service sector, a lot of the people that I have worked with have gotten their loans cleared, and things like this. It's life changing. It's life changing for them.
Hmm.
So,
Nice. Yeah, and I already feel you on that, man. I have student loan debt that I would love to be cleared. So I don't fall into the teacher pool of getting my loans cleared in 10 years. Uh, but if Kamala could work some magic and just help
but they
forgive.
actually do. They actually do have a program for everybody else, but it's 20 years, as long as you're paying your loans on time.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So yeah, you
But
pay
the
your
whole
loans for
COVID
20.
gap that doesn't count, right? Because I mean, I didn't. Nobody was paying loans from 2020 to like
It
last year.
counts. They counted all that.
I mean, if you didn't pay, do you guys start over?
Nah,
Or
they counted all that.
oh, they counted those as years towards payment.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay, bet. Cool. All right, so we
So,
have a number of Kamala Harris's policies, some good ones, um, some that could affect you, right? Like if you missed any of them, rewind the video, go back and look through them. But now we want to talk about Donald Trump, right? Like what are some of his policies that could affect people's finances? Uh, Go ahead, Kurt. I know you got that list as well.
uh, the thing about I went on both of their websites. Donald Trump, his website, it was a little more vague,
Mm-hmm.
but I know the first bullet point that I wrote down was him, trying to defeat inflation, which we're already in the process of doing. That's why interest rates are so high. So interest rates are inflated so that we can reduce spending, reduce borrowing, and inflation will start to drop. So they aim to tackle inflation by cutting wasteful federal spending. I don't think that a lot of federal spending will ever not be wasteful because I feel like we spend money on a lot of crazy things. And slashing regulations that drive up prices. So this is how he plans on boosting our economy.
Mm-hmm.
So also he wants to and I know one thing with the federal, like he wanted to cut out the whole federal education, federal board of education, not board of education, the federal department of
Mm.
education. And he
He
wanted to
wanted to
give the
cut
power.
out the federal Department of Education.
Yeah, so basically he wants to give the power to the states. I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know what that looks like, but I imagine that I imagine that not looking too good. I feel like states should be regulated at some type of degree, to
yeah,
some type of degree.
yeah. Because when you start to talk about states regulating things like education, how what what's the standard? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
What
No,
would be
I
the standard?
exactly.
I know that they in middle school, like you have certain classes, like in Georgia, we took Georgia history instead of I don't know Texas history, but the actual curriculum was. I mean, I don't know if that's nation mandated, but there are still certain subjects and certain topics you have to learn
We're talking about
as
like
far as
civics and geology and stuff like that.
yeah. But when you start to make it state led, I mean, it sounds like they could just pretty much do whatever they want in regards to teaching whatever they want and what's not allowed in their certain school districts or their certain education systems. So, yeah, I think it just what would be the standard? Because just because you went to school in let's say Georgia doesn't mean that you're going to land a job in Georgia. It doesn't mean you're going to spend the rest of your life in Georgia. Will that same education that you get in this state that's now state regulated work if you were to go to a different state? So interesting that that was something that he was looking to do, but I wonder what that actually looks like.
I mean, and see, it's so vague. It doesn't tell you what it looks like. It's
Yeah.
just like we want to get the power to the states. Okay. And
Yeah.
especially with me being in education and most of our money, especially being in a Title I school, comes
Mm,
from federal funding.
mm,
I really want to know what that looks like.
right.
So I guess we'll find out because a lot of my job is dealing with FTE and getting funding for students, especially students with special needs. And guess what that is? Federal funding. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what that looks like.
I feel you.
So another thing is, and this is pretty popular. I'm seeing it all around social media. The tax relief when it
Uh,
comes to yeah. So I didn't see the part where he said he wants to get rid of all federal taxing on his website, but I did see where it was talking about get just lowering taxes for tips workers and also people in restaurant and hospitality industries. And he
yeah.
is also I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say Kamala was saying the same thing about wanting to eliminate taxes on tips.
Right.
I think that's. I mean, like, I hope I don't get but that's wild to me, bro. Um, that's income that people are just saying, we're not gonna pay taxes on income. That's essentially what it is, and I don't know
So
that
I
this
kind of
this
get
tip,
it.
this whole tip culture is a little wild. I'm not gonna lie, but now it's like they don't have to pay taxes on the tips either. But
Tip culture is wild, but I feel like restaurants have created that culture probably to save them money, if you think about it. Because if you can get away with paying somebody $3 an hour because they get tips, like waiters, they don't make minimum wage. For some reason, they're able to get paid less
right,
and their income be focused on tips.
right. But now you're talking. They make money at $4 an hour, three something an hour, and majority. I don't know if majority of their money comes from tips or whatever the case may be. But whatever else they make, they just don't get taxed on it at all, according to the policies that Kamala and Donald Trump are looking to enact. Right? Like, let's say you're making, I don't know, $40 an hour.
Hmm.
Right? That's like you getting taxed on, I don't know, like 10% of that. And then the rest you just pocket and keep. No taxes at all. You feel me? That
Yeah.
I think could be beneficial to them. Of course it's beneficial to them, but is it necessarily fair for people who have to pay taxes on their entire income?
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
don't get tax breaks. I have to pay taxes on everything that I make. Um, so I wonder what the incentive is, or what made that be a topic. Has it, you know what I mean? Like, what
You're
caused
right.
the thought of, like, we want to make sure that they don't pay taxes on the tips that they're getting? I don't know. And then, of course, because we're seeing, like, now you automatic, like, tips are pretty much, it's in a sense like mandated for some cases, right? Unless you are very specific in saying, I do not want to tip you today, you're going to get some tips taken out. If you go out to dinner, and of course, it started a bit like with COVID when there were no sit down restaurants. You walk up to a counter, order food, take the food, and they say, do you want a tip? And I'm like, but what am I tipping you for? Like, I wasn't tipping you um, prior to this, when I'm doing the exact same thing, walking up to a counter, ordering food, taking the food, and leaving. But I don't know, bro. That's a rabbit hole conversation.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
But yeah, so some other things. He's also talking about affordable housing.
Hmm.
It says they aim to reduce mortgage rates and open federal lands for new housing construction.
Man.
And he wants to provide a tax incentive for first time home buyers.
So
That
they
it
both
doesn't
want to
say.
home buyers.
Yeah, but his doesn't really say. what that incentive is. Where hers, she's talking about. Well, hers is vague also because she's talking about up to $25,000. Like, what does that mean?
Number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
this is one that I'm worried about with him.
Hmm.
He wants to put more taxes on on exports.
Tariffs.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fair trade and tariffs. Republicans support tariffs on foreign made goods to rebalance trade and bring supply chains back to US, protecting American industries and reducing the dependency on foreign goods. So I get what he's trying to do, but I feel like too many important things are being imported. For one, like the chips,
Yep.
Taiwan semiconductor chips, we're
Hmm.
importing those. And with AI being one of the most powerful things that we're developing right now, is this really a smart thing to do right now?
Yeah.
So I know with that that worries me a little bit. So it could make, and also it can make things that we're importing more expensive for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that they're looking to put restrictions on chip imports, and they're looking to expand the manufacturing of chips within the U.S. But like you said, what? How is that going to trickle down to the individual when it comes to now we are purchasing items from a chip that had to, that costs more to make? Is
Yeah.
that just going to end up falling on us and us paying more money?
Most
When
likely.
most likely, most
Yeah.
likely it will.
I doubt any company is footing that bill.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is also um, not really national security, but more like reliance on foreign nations. They don't want to be dependent on foreign nations. It's like, yes, we are getting a lot of important items from them, but if they decided to say, all right, we don't want to work with y'all no more, what does that leave? Where does that leave us? Um, so lots of important policies coming up. We already know that is definitely going to affect the tech sector. Like, regardless of how you want to slice it, when it comes to these tech stocks that have been booming, whether it's AI, Nvidia with its chip making, well, the chip manufacturer Nvidia, AMD, um, a lot of these are tied into this, the chip manufacturing, the foreign trade, all of that. So we're probably going to see a lot of change as we go through some of the policies being enacted when it comes to um, whatever that looks like as far as trade, export, import when it comes to chips. We'll see that later down the line. So just again, be mindful of be mindful of how you're investing your money. I personally think, regardless, the stock market is going to be a good investment.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
regardless of
Over
regardless of
time, for
who
sure.
regardless of who takes presidency today, the stock market itself is going to be a good investment. I think that we might see dips, but that's normal. Check history. Every 4 years, you're going to see some kind of fluctuation around this time. But you look a year after, and you're going to probably see some type of green. Or if you look 2 years after, like all time, the stock market has gone up. Go ahead.
I do think that certain stocks will do better under certain
Yeah,
leadership
for
though.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Like energy stocks, I think Trump is probably, depending on like any type of like solar power, wind power, electrical power. I think Trump is more of a oil and gas kind of
For
president,
sure.
and I think Kamala Harris and the Democrats are more of a renewable energy type of party. So that I think is going to be a big sector that you're going to see some change depending on who gets elected today. Right? Energy is one that will
Yeah.
definitely
Uh,
fluctuate. I think.
and I think that also I was reading that financials would thrive under Trump also, and Trump is supporting cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So even if you did win, that's something that would benefit me for sure. So no matter who wins, like we said earlier, you got to find a way that you're gonna thrive.
Hmm.
Because if it happens, it happens. You can't snap your fingers and change what happened. Like it is what it is, and
Yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do. So
Facts. Yeah. Definitely don't shy away from this, and don't imagine that you holding your money close to you is going to be like the safest thing to do, because as we know, like we were saying earlier, inflation just makes your money cheaper with every passing year, every passing day. Things are getting more expensive. So every second you're not investing in something that's growing and your money's not making money, it's losing money. That dollar from 10 years ago is not worth the same dollar as today, right? So, yeah, I'll just say, man, don't stick your head in the sand when it comes to investing in the stock market. Um, History has shown that despite who wins the election, right, the stock market thrives. The stock market goes up. They might have times when the market goes down, but ultimately, I think that, again, like I said earlier, stock market is going to be a good investment. And if you are like unsure, you can always do an ETF. You know, just do a catch all. So yeah, I think that we're gonna see what happens later on today, man. We're gonna see how the stock market moves, how the sentiment of the nation, not just the stock market, but how the sentiment of the nation changes with the outcome for today. So, Cornell, what else we got for him?
So we will see what happens, and make sure that you let us know what you think is going to happen. Because even after Tuesday, of course, the policies aren't just going to be magically there. There's still going to be time. It's still going to take time for them to roll these things out. So make sure you let us know what you feel like is going to happen. What's your favorite policy from the candidates uh, in question right now? So just comment, let us know, share this with someone else just so they can see some of the policies that we were talking about, and make sure to join the Facebook and help us facilitate some conversation.
Definitely, we're gonna have a lot to talk about after today, I'm sure. So, hit us up on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe, rate us on the Spotify. Let us know. 5-star ratings. You know what I mean. Um, Hit us up on Instagram too. We're just trying to grow in every avenue. So definitely looking forward to more conversations. As always, we appreciate you all tuning in. Um, it's gonna be an exciting day, but again, we're gonna be good regardless. We just gonna make sure that our money is right. So I think with that, we're gonna catch y'all next week.
Yeah, let's get it.
Out.